So my name is Elizabeth Bukor. I am the founder of Wealth from Little, and I help professionals and entrepreneurs change the way they think about money so that they can start building their wealth, making more money. So that easy. So thank you for sharing that with me. So today we're going to be talking about how to build wealth during a crisis. And right now, I'm sure you might know that all over the world, we are experiencing inflation, high cost of living. When you go to the shops, prices are going up, prices from petrol to food. It's constantly going up, right? And so we're constantly taking our money and spending it on things, and the cost is going up. So if you had, and it's not like incomes are increasing. So if you have X amount of pounds or X amount of dollars, let's say $100, and petrol goes up from $10 to $20, now you have less disposable income or less disposable cash. So how do we navigate that? How are people surviving? And that's why I decided to have this session so that we can discuss it, so I can share tips, I can share insights on what we can do to keep pushing and to keep building our wealth even in a crisis. When we think about wealth building, I like to break it down into 4 main steps. But one of the things that people think about when they think about growing their wealth is investing. And that is a good thing to think about because investing is the way to grow your wealth. However, when you're investing, there are important things that you must know. One is that the first thing to invest in, beyond the stock market, beyond crypto, beyond businesses, is yourself. Because as you invest in yourself, you increase your knowledge, you increase your ability to think, you increase your ability to make good, sound decisions, right? Then the next thing that we should know about investing is to always, and as you invest in yourself, it leads to the next thing, which is don't invest in things that you don't understand. When we invest in whatever, we must have a good foundational understanding of what we're investing in. And then we will know how to grow our wealth because not all investments are equal and not all investments is great for everyone. Okay, so that's just a little intro there. But before we move deep into strategies to survive during a crisis or to thrive during a crisis, first thing I want to take us back to is creation. The beginning, Genesis 1. In the beginning, what happened? Like, how did this wealth thing come about? When did it become an issue? When did it become a need for us to even start building wealth in the first place? And it started in Genesis 1. The Bible lets us know that God created 3 main things, right? He created creation, which is the sun, the stars, the trees, the land, the sea, plants, and all the good stuff, right? Sand and all that. He created creatures, he lets us know that he created all the sea animals in the sea and the beasts of the ground, right? He created all the birds in the air. So those are creatures. And the last thing that he created, which is the most important part of this conversation, is he created man. And man are all our creators. So he created creation, he created creatures, and he created creators. Because he said, let us make man in our image. So in the image of the original creator. So God created things and he made me and you in his image because he's given us the ability to create things. And we can see that, right? Like, look at your phone, right? Someone created that. You just have a look around the devices in your house and you know that man has the ability to create. And you have an ability to create too. However, sometimes it gets lost along the way, and I'll tell you. The next thing that happened is he gave us 3 main things to do. One, in Genesis 1 verse 28, he told us, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. He told us to multiply, be fruitful, and have dominion over creation and creatures. But he didn't say that we should have dominion over men, right? But he did say multiply, be fruitful, have dominion, right? And it lets us know that, when God calls us to multiply, it means that we should produce something. It's telling us that we have the ability within us. He's giving us the ability within us to produce and replicate other things, to replicate ourselves in terms of, procreation, but to also replicate our ideas. So I can, for example, I can have an idea, I can pass it on to you, and I have replicated it. I can have my mother can have a strong legacy. She can pass it on to her many children. We can pass it on to her grandchildren, and it's been replicated, right? You can have an idea of a product, and you can decide to take it to a factory, mass produce it, and it's replicated. So we multiply it, we produce on a mass scale. So he's called us, and even in business, as we are starting businesses, we're starting, we're self-employed, or we're looking into multiple streams of income. It's good to have that at the back of our mind, that one of the things he's called us to do is to multiply. So when you're thinking about what you're going to do, see how is it possible to scale up. Then the next thing is, he said, obviously the first thing was actually to be fruitful, which was actually produce something. Whatever you're doing, we have the ability to continually produce things of value. Fruitfulness means that you are being of value to someone else. If a tree is fruitful, it's giving you not just shade, but it's producing fruits that are good to eat. So if you are being fruitful as a mother, as a part-time worker, as an owner of a business, self-employed, then you are constantly giving either your children, your the people you work with, the people you work for, employers, colleagues, anybody around you, you're constantly giving them something of value. You are producing something of value from what they've given you. Someone can give you a brief and you're producing something of extra value to them, right? And then the next thing was like to subdue, to dominate, right? To rule. And dominating and ruling is leading. Ruling is leading with order and excellence. So as we are stepping out into creating wealth, even in a crisis, if we keep these three things in mind, I will show you how it doesn't matter whatever the economy says. If we are producing things that are of value, if we are multiplying, scaling up, and if we are ruling, leading with order and excellence, then we will continue to build wealth. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Just drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense so far. Then moving further on, the New Testament lets us know that there are 2 main commandments, and the first commandment was to love God, and the second commandment is love others as we love ourselves. And I'm just going to move real quick through this just to set a foundation. Just stay with me. Great, 1, yes, okay, great. So first commandment, Jesus says, love your Lord, your God with all your heart. And then he said, and the second one is like this, love others as you love yourself, right? So if in the beginning, Genesis 1, he's giving us this order, multiply, be fruitful, have dominion over creation and creatures, not over men, right? He's not saying dominate men, right? Or dominate other human beings. But to other human beings, he's giving us this direction. Love God and love others as you love yourself. So loving yourself is important. And to the same degree you're loving yourself, you're loving other people. But many of us love others more than we love ourselves, or we love ourselves more than we love others, right? But I just want to ask a question, and we're bringing this back to money. When it comes to love, does love resemble taking or giving? Let me know in the chat. If it's taking, you can write T. If it's giving, write G. And then I also want to ask a second question. Does love resemble freedom or scarcity? And if you can drop it in the chat as well, let me know. Just think about it. When he says, love others as you love yourself, does it resemble taking or giving? Does it resemble freedom or scarcity? Because to me, yeah, love resembles giving, because when you're thinking of, oh, you're loving someone, you're always thinking of how can you bless them? How can you give them something of value? How can you add to them? How can you, and then with regards to, yeah, giving them freedom, yes, exactly. So when it comes to love, it's giving and freedom, right? Now, one more thing. But so many of us, we live in this condition of taking and scarcity. We are supposed to love, which is in giving and freedom, but we live in this taking and scarcity. And that is how, most of the world lives. It's consumerism. We are constantly thinking of what's in it for me. How can I get this? How can I take that? You have a little bit of money and you're thinking, I don't have enough, but what can I'm going to take that, I'm going to use it for this, I'm going to do that. And it's constantly being reduced. It's constrictive. Now, it's very interesting to know that in Genesis 2, before, when Adam and Eve were in the garden, before sin, there was no lack. There was no poverty. It was just abundance. God said that of every tree, that kind of signifies abundance, freedom, thou may freely eat. That's freedom again. So God had provided everything. He said, of every tree that may freely eat. The first temptation to Eve was for her to focus on lack. But because God said, but of the tree in the middle of the garden, you mustn't eat. And isn't that what marketing, what news, what media is doing to us? They bring out an offer and they let us know there's scarcity, there's urgency and exclusivity. Buy this one product now, gone today. This is the last product. This is the only time you're going to ever get it. Have you seen advertisements like that? Get it now, 50% off, never to be seen again, right? It's exactly the same tactics, right, of marketing and sales, because it causes you to focus, to shift your attention from the abundance of all the trees that Adam and Eve had to eat from, and to focus on lack, on the fact that there was one tree that they couldn't have, and therefore that was the one they had to have. And it was the one that was wrong for them, that they felt should be right for them. So that that's how poverty kind of entered, right? And now we are constantly in this cycle where our minds are constantly focused and seeking, oh, not enough here, not enough there. You turn on the news, the media, you're hearing recession, inflation, not enough money, not enough, how do you cut back? How do you manage? And I understand, because I've been featured in a lot of articles recently where I am giving tips on how people can manage their money better in this situation. But I understand that this idea that the media is pushing is causing fear, financial fear amongst so many people in this time. And when things are tight in your environment financially, the last thing you need is financial fear, because it causes you to constrict and hold tighter. And instead of giving, you're thinking of how to take. Instead of freedom, you're thinking scarcity. So you're not able to love. And if you're not able to love, you're not able to think out of love, it will be very hard to create value. It will be very hard to have a vision of the future. And you'll see why that's so important to build your wealth. So what should we be doing with our money instead, right? Ephesians 5:16 lets us know that we should redeem the time because the days are evil, right? And he explains just before that, he's talking about those who are wise, do wise things. Those who are not wise don't do wise things. But for you, redeem the time because the days are evil. And redemption is all about buying back. It's all about improving opportunities. In fact, some of the other versions says, take opportunity of the time. Let me see if I can get another version. Make the most of every opportunity because these are evil days. And evil days doesn't necessarily mean that the days are, evil per se, but it means that the days are difficult. So when the Bible is giving us this hint, redeem the time because the days are evil, it's, in other words, it says, take every opportunity, buy back time because the days are difficult. And so in these times of difficulty, the Bible is giving us an idea of what we should be doing with our money, which is to use our money to buy back time, to make the most of opportunities, right? But most of the time, what society only tells us to do is to use our money to use our time to get money. So use your time to go for that, to stay in your job. And once you're in your job and you have this idea, oh, I'd like to be, start this side business, then everyone looks at you like you're crazy, like you're leaving the comfort of a guaranteed paycheck and you're starting this new business and it's risky. And all of a sudden, it's like, it's so risky to start a business. It's so risky. But the Bible has let us know that in difficult times, in difficult days, we should be redeeming our time. That is, we should be buying back time. We should be making the most of every opportunity to buy back time. And we buy time when we invest our money in the right way, right? As opposed to use our time to create money, because time is like you only have 24 hours a day, right? Once your day is gone, it's gone. There's nothing, you can't do much more. And we only have a certain number of years alive, right? But in terms of money, you can create as much money as you want. If you decided to have a business that sells 10 clothes, you can sell 10 clothes. Or you can have a business that sells 10,000 clothes. It's a decision, but with time, there's no decision. So the comparison of you spending time to buy money alone is not viable. It's not viable, especially in difficult days. It won't last. Unless, of course, maybe you have an extremely amazing job that you absolutely love and pays you extremely well for your time. And that lets us know one thing, that it doesn't necessarily matter where you are right now in your financial journey, because when there's a time of distress, it always creates opportunities. Because the Bible has let us know that already, that during difficult times, make the most of every opportunity. Now, it might not seem like, 1 second. Yeah, so need to do this. 1 second, let me mute. There's some, yeah, there, done. Okay. So distressing times creates opportunities. Now, if you're comfortable with, if you like to remain in your comfort zone, rather, you may not want to look out for opportunities that come up in distressing times. But we all know, or maybe we don't, but we know that for example, in 2008, during the last market recession big crash that we all had globally, McDonald's got a 30% market share of the burger takeaway industry, because during that time when everybody was constricting, when Burger King was closing restaurants, McDonald's started buying up real estate. They were like, oh, let's just start investing more and more and more in ourselves. And everybody came out of the recession, and now we have more McDonald's globally than before, because tough times create opportunities, because not many people are willing to play at that level of taking risks at that level. So now that we know that, okay, fine, we are going to be buying back time. We're going to be investing to grow our money during difficult times. How do we start investing? Well, again, I told you how we shouldn't, which is investing in things that we don't understand. But we should invest in, one, I did say, yourself, understanding, in improving yourself, but also in improving, in improving your mental capacity, right? Because at the end of the day, most of the times we are not limited by what's on the outside, but we are limited by what is on the inside, in our minds, right? We're limited by the thoughts that we think about what's happening. We have facts, but what really stops us or what really motivates us is the thoughts we think about the facts, right? You see a pink bag. If you think the bag is ugly, you might be motivated to look away from the bag because you're like, it's ugly, because it's your thought about the bag. But when you see a pink bag and you think this bag is beautiful, the thought that it's beautiful may motivate you to buy the bag, right? Then the next thing that we should be investing is relationships, right? Because no man is an island. And right now I've not even mentioned money. I haven't even mentioned, I'm saying, because when he says that, and the Bible lets us know in Proverbs that we should be buying wisdom. And there are things that you can buy without money. Relationships, investing in the relationships that you have now, and even in relationships that you need to get to the next level. That's another way to create wealth. Because, and it's not the only, of course, everything adds up together, because you're going to start a business. You're going to need an accountant. But I'm sure it was Wesley Snipes that went to jail for tax evasion, right? Did he not have an accountant? Or did he, how did that happen that he went to jail for that? But once we start investing in relationships, the right relationships, if you're starting a business, maybe you need, an accountant or a bookkeeper, and you start investing in relationships that can grow your business, that can help you to ensure that I'm not just typing on Google, best bookkeeper in Edinburgh, and I see some names come up because they paid for ads on Google and they don't align with my values. It's just like a last minute thing, and you're just hoping that they're a good company, right? I hope this makes sense. Maybe you want to start a fashion line, right? And you would like your fashion line to explode in the next 5 to 10 years. Then you want to start building relationships with people who can give you the access to cause it to explode, per se. You want to progress in your career. Yes, then you're building relationships with anyone, literally. So if you're progressing in career, it's anyone, because you meet someone today and you are nice, you are personable, you are engaging and a good conversationalist. And you never know who that person is, now everyone gets connected on LinkedIn. 5 years from now, you're looking for a job. The person is working in a company that could hire you. And because they already have that relationship, they might be like, oh, I can recommend someone for this role. Relationship is another thing that we should be investing in. So we're investing in our mental capacity, because we need to have that inner capacity to expand, to be resilient, to push through the instabilities of starting something new. Then we need to have, build relationships that can help us. We know that sometimes they say that we are the average of the 5 people that we hang out the most with. So if you look at the 5 people you hang out the most with right now, and you're thinking, I don't want to be at this level, then I'm not saying ditch those people, but just find new people to hang out with, find new people to have conversations with. Then make the time to keep up those conversations, find new mentors, young or old, to have conversations with, and make the time to keep up those relationships, right? And then, of course, final thing, don't invest in things that you don't know. The next thing is your knowledge capital. Like, you need to start, you invest in knowledge, and then you now use all those things to make adequate decisions in what you do next. So if you're even investing in the stock market, first is to understand what exactly happens. What happens when stocks rise in price? What happens when stocks rise and when stocks fall in price? Next thing you want to know is exactly what you will do when it rises or when it falls. If you're investing in crypto, you want to know how you're going to react when it rises and when it falls. And your imagination is the perfect tool for that. Just imagine your stocks quadrupled overnight. What would you do? Then imagine it crashed overnight. What would you do? And then you have an idea of where you are before you even start. And you can make a game plan of what you want to do next. When I talk to the people that work with me about investing, and when we come to the level of investing in stocks, we always have a game plan for what's going to happen if it rises, what's going to happen if it falls, so that they always win. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, now, so we've spoken about God's original design, how he created us. He created us to be creators. He created us to be fruitful, to multiply, to subdue, to rule, right? He created us even in business, in career. We're supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be being fruitful within ourselves, to multiply ourselves. That's impacting others, impacting our industries. We're supposed to be ruling with order, with excellence. And but the next thing that I want to talk about is about our value. What exactly is the value that we are bringing to the table, and exactly and how, why is that so important? Now, if we could just do a quick exercise, I'd like you guys to just close your eyes for a moment and imagine you received $10 extra a month for the rest of your life. So you've received $10. How would that make you feel? And do you know what you would do with it? Yeah, are you thinking of some examples of what you'll do with it? Okay, now imagine you received $100 a month for the rest of your life without taxes. No one's ever going to tax you. You're receiving $100 free every month. How would that make you feel? Did it make you feel good? Faith says, I would want more so better I can invest it. Okay, cool, that's a good answer. What would you do with it if you received $100 a month for the rest of your life? Okay, let's try $1,000. Everyone think about receiving $1,000 every month, tax-free for the rest of your life. How would that make you feel? And what would you do with it? Simone says she'll save half and invest half. Nice. Okay. I'm liking this. I'm liking the answers. Yes. Invest half, save half. Okay, now $10,000 for the rest of your life, or $10,000 tax-free every month from now till forever. Definitely rewarded. I have to invest it and grow it. Yeah. Okay. Now I want to know, honestly, if you received 100, just imagine now receiving $100,000 every month, tax-free for the rest of your life. So in January, February, 100,000. March, 100,000. What would you do with it? How would that make you feel? Let me know in the chat. And then we're going one step further. Imagine if you received $1 million for the rest of your life. 1 million, tax-free. What would you do with it? So for 100,000, Simone says she'll invest, create a global property portfolio, save, give a bit to charity. Start a property business, Faith says, feel wealthy, definitely. That's 1 million. Yeah, okay. Or 100,000, that's 100,000. So yes, now for 1 million, you're receiving 1 million every month for the rest of your life. So at the end of each year, you're 12 million, you would have received 12 million. Year 2, another 12 million. Linda says, I would feel great, purchase some needs, want, save, and invest. Invest in female tech startups. Amazing, amazing. Now imagine you are a billionaire. A billionaire. Not work, do what I want and have always wanted to do. Amazing. You see, I don't know if you can see a trend here. Invest 30% for my children and grandchildren, live on 20, give 50% away to the needy. Amazing. You know, in fact, this exercise could not even have gone better than I had planned it in my head. Help other females in securing finance. Amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, yeah. So basically, my question is, what would life be like if living life was more than just what we need and what we needed to spend? Like, how would it be? Because most of us right now, the reason if anyone's feeling financially stressed, the reason that person is feeling financially stressed is because they are thinking of what do I need? How much I need to spend? There's some form of scarcity there, not freedom, some form of something I need to take, something I need to keep, something I need and not giving. And let me know, at what point during this exercise, what was your number? What point did you stop thinking about what you would do for yourself and start thinking about how you would create value for other people? At what point was it when it was $10 a month? $10 a month, someone said, I need more. Yeah, $10,000. Yeah. So at $10,000 was the point where there was this, I need, and then you got to 10,000 and it kind of leveled out like, oh, I must give, I can give. And it shifted to creating value for others, thinking of other people, helping giving 50% away to the needy. Yeah, someone else said 10K. 2 people have said 10K. That's interesting that for many of us, like 10K seems to be the level. And I call that your value cap, right? Like that's where you crossed over from what you need and can spend to where money is no longer your primary excuse for doing something or not doing something. So once it passed 10,000 and we moved on to 100,000, then money was not the reason why you are doing something or not doing. You're now giving money away to needy. You don't. that is not because of money that you're doing that. It's because you have in abundance. But for many of us, when you are $10 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month, it's like, oh, I can't give to the needy because I only have $10. I can't help females secure finance because I only have $100. So the idea is to push ourselves till we get to that place. And so you already now know, if you didn't know before, now you know where your personal value cap is. Now it's 10K for some people who've written it down in the chat, but for someone else, it may be a different number. But you know what you have set yours to be. And you know that if you exceed this level, you're in abundance. Like, you didn't need to reach $1 billion to be in abundance, to be able to give 50% to charities or to needy, or to help, to be giving money to female startups. Or I read some really other good ones here. Or to do the work I've always wanted to do. Or to, start that property business, give to charity. So there are two main conditions that the human beings have. One is consumerism, and the other one is being a producer. So you're either a consumer or you're a producer. If you're a consumer, then it's rooted in scarcity. What's in it for me? And consumers always want to take more than they can give. How can I make the most out of this opportunity? How can I not make the most out of it? We should all be making the most of it, out of opportunities, but how can I, make it for me, and without thinking of how you can give value to others. But you've seen that up until 10K, many people were in a form of consumerism condition. And then beyond that, we automatically just switched and became producers. And producers focus on serving others, adding value, creating solutions. And that's kind of what people starting a property business, that's creating a solution, that's adding value. It's service, right? It's service. Helping tech companies, it's service. Giving to the needy, it's service. And when we are serving, we are adding value. When we are producing, we're adding value. So what would your life be like if you lived in a world that was bigger than that $10 a month, $100 a month, or $1,000 a month problems? What would it be like if you lived in a world that was bigger than your problems, that was in this 10K a month or 100K a month life? What would it be like? Now, if you can't see what it would be like, and that's called vision, that's called having a vision, then it will be hard for you to create the value that you need to get there. So the vision is the only vehicle, your vision for the future, for your future, is the only vehicle with which you will use or can use to create value, because it focuses your attention, the attention of your mind, instead of from worrying about everything happening in the world, the recession, the inflation. You're now focusing on, how can I serve others? How can I add value? How can I create solutions? Like the solutions you guys already created in the chat at 100,000. Does that make sense? So we need to have, one, a clear vision. And that vision needs to be bigger than our problems. It can't be a $10 a month vision or a $100 a month vision. I know many of us are starting businesses, so this is a great time to think about it. So your vision has to be big. It can't be, because if you create a $10 a month vision, then you start making $10 a month, then you're still in that place of scarcity. You're still in that place of need, because you actually need like $100 to pay just your mobile phone bill anyway. So vision is the way we create value, and then income comes as a direct result of the value we exchange. It's directly resulted from that. We create value from our vision, and we make money from it, because we give somebody else value, they give us money in return. You want to make 10K, you make 10K worth of value to someone, they give you back money in return. The bigger the perceived value exchanged, the bigger the income received. Does that make sense? I'll say it again. The bigger the perceived value exchanged, the bigger the income received. And I say perceived value because everyone perceives value differently. So someone can buy a phone for $1,000 and they perceive the value to be worth $1,000, and someone else will never spend $1,000 on a phone because they don't perceive that value. So income is a result of value exchange, with the people who perceive the value that you want, receive the value that you're exchanging it from. And the bigger the perceived value, the bigger the income that you receive. Or the more you multiply, more you multiply, you're already being fruitful, you're creating value. Now the more you multiply it, you can scale up the value that you're creating and receive more income. And of course, you do it by subduing and ruling and having dominion on that industry that's leading with order and excellence, so that the perceived value will continue to increase. I'm going back to Genesis 1 verse 28, where God directed us to be fruitful, to multiply, to subdue. Some versions say subdue, some versions say rule, some versions say dominate. And all those things help us create more value and help us increase our perceived value, which means that it will increase wealth. And therefore, when you create, and that's how we now create that future that we want, the future that you want where you're helping females secure finance, the future that you want where you're investing 30% for children and grandchildren, the future that you want, it comes from that vision, from that value. And when you create the future that you want, instead of getting dictated by the news and CNN and Fox News and social media by the economic downturn and recession and all those different things that are negative news are constantly filling us with fear. When we create the future that we want, it becomes recession proof, because we are giving solutions, we are creating value, and we are giving it to the people who need solutions. And every time there is a there's a distress, there's a recession, there's some kind of stress in the economy, there are always opportunities to be a solution provider, to be a producer of value. And when you serve others and you solve problems, your business becomes inflation proof. Does that make sense? So we're worrying about inflation right now, but as we're serving others, because as we continue to serve others and we are continuing to solve problems, we and our businesses, we become inflation proof. And so if we are not inflation proof right now, then all we need to think about, because it doesn't matter where we are now. The beautiful thing is that, where we are now is incomparable to where we can be tomorrow, next week. All we need to do is think, how can I serve others? And how can I solve other people's problems? The problems they are facing now. Back to the second commandment was love God, love others as you love yourself. And this is exactly how to be inflation proof. Serve others and solve their problems with love, in caring, like actually out of compassion. Serve and love and solve their problems. In return, they will pay you, and it will be inflation proof because you set your prices, because your income is a result of the perceived value that you're exchanging. And then once all this happens, then you obviously put in the tools to plug any leaks, and then you start taking the strategies to invest, and not just to follow trends. You're actually investing in your knowledge, so you know how to invest your money directly. You've invested in relationships, so maybe you have a great wealth manager, you have a great financial advisor, you have a great financial coach if it's about money that you're focusing in, and that can help you navigate this waters with your money. Or if it's in your relationships or your parenting, you're creating the relationships that get you to the place that you want to be. In business, you're getting relationships that get you to the place that you want to be. relationships that change the way you think so that you get to where you want to be faster. Then you start creating freedom. That is great. That's where you don't even have to create freedom. It comes naturally. Once you're serving others, you become inflation proof. You create the future that you want through your vision and the value that you bring, and you become recession proof. You've plugged your financial leaks, so you're not just buying on impulse. You've increased your mental capacity. You've improved your relationships, because all that helps you build wealth. And then you're in a place of freedom. And now money automatically just shifts 360 from being that focus where I need to get this, I need to get 10,000 this month, I need to do this because I need to pay for ABC. And it's important because you need to actually do pay for ABC. But now money, instead of being that goal that you're focusing at, it becomes this tool that you use as a producer to create more value, to serve more people, to solve more problems, to become more inflation proof, to become more recession proof. Does that make sense? Type a 1 in the chat if it makes sense. Just type a 1. Or type a 0 if you're completely confused. 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so that's great. 1, 1. Okay. So I'm not just going to leave you hanging. I want to know, I'm sure you're asking, how do we get there? How do you get to this place where you're recession proof, inflation proof, free, and money is now a tool and not the focus? How do we all get there? 1, this is a big one for me. Eliminate excuses and distractions. You know what you want to do, and there's always something that comes up when you decide you want to do it to stop you from doing it. Just like when, how, remember I shared with you in the beginning about Eve and the apple, and how her mind was shifted from the abundance of all the trees to the focus on the lack. And therefore, what she didn't want to do was what she did, and what she would have wanted to do was what she didn't do. And then she got sent out of the garden. And Adam. So 1, eliminate distractions, eliminate excuses that hold you back, that stop you. Everything that stops you from being that person that you want to be. If it doesn't add up or push you closer to the goal, eliminate it.
It's blue now, a purple.
Second thing, collaborate with the right people. Because we can do so much more together than we can do on our own. The Bible says, and if you know the passage, drop it in the chat in case I get it wrong. 1 can chase 1,000, 2 can chase 10,000. Right? How does 1 chasing 1,000, 2 should be chasing 2,000, right? But no, it exponentially goes up 10x. Because when people collaborate, the ideas and the results, especially when they're on the same path, they're moving towards the same goal, it's 10x. So in your finances, if that's what you want to, if that's where we're looking at, for example, in this call, you want to collaborate with the right people, have the right type of conversations, the right type of money conversations, not conversations about how everything is going down, things are getting worse, nothing is going to be good. Those kind of conversations, even if you don't mean it completely and you're just agreeing to be polite, is slowly entering your subconscious mind, and it's creating a result you cannot see yet. So collaborate with the right people, with the right environment, have the right conversations consistently, and then do this consistently. So some people are starting businesses, and it doesn't matter what your business is. Like I need to even, I'm trying to remember. Yes, there was this business that made, I think it was $1 million business. And it's basically like a duvet with arms that you just snuggle in. I think it was called the Snuggie. Like it's such a nice idea, but who would have known that they were going to make like $1 million? Another business that made $1 million is $1 million business is a pillow business. Like pillows, no, he did not invent pillows, but he started creating pillows in a different way. I can't remember the way now, but you can Google it, Pillow King. And it just became, he had a unique thing that he added to it, and that increased his perceived value. And because he brought in a new perceived value, he received more income for it. So I'm going to pause there and leave the chat open for questions. But let me know if this call has enlightened you in any way. I want to know, I truly want to know. Let me know in the chat. And another thing I want you to let me know, because I always say this thing, that information without understanding is useless. So I want you to write that in the chat, something that you're taking away from this, something that you're taking away, something you're going to use, and something you're going to remember, because that can help someone else. Now, and while I'm waiting for you guys to drop those in the chat, I just want to share that if you are trying to progress in your finances, then collaborating with the right people is important. Now, I know that was a point that I made, but it's actually so true, because the way we think about our money slowly will start reflecting. It may not start reflecting instantly, but it will start reflecting as time goes on in the amount of money that we actually have. If you're hanging out with people who are constantly saying that we don't have enough, slowly you might start thinking that we don't have enough. And so if that is something that, I can give you a story of one of my clients who, when we started working together, she was constantly thinking like, I don't have enough money, and so many different things, negative thoughts about money. And just as through our weekly conversations, something she'd been trying to achieve for 7 years, she achieved it just within 5 months of us working together. That was in terms of clearing a huge 6-figure debt that she was trying to clear. And she changed how the way she started thinking about money changed. She started hearing clearly from God with regards to what she should be doing with her money. And when she took action on the clear instructions she was given, people were telling her, oh my gosh, how did you know? She became a blessing to other people. And at the same time, God was bulldozing all her financial obstacles. How do we collaborate? So you mean collaborating with other people or collaborating with me? If it's collaborating with other people, I would say, depending on, I know you said you want to start start working with, you want to start a business. It depends on your business that you want to start. You can, you can see maybe in Facebook groups, other women who are interested in the type of things that you're interested in, and you start building relationships with them. So that's on social media, or even, in networking events that happen live. If you go on Eventbrite, you can Google all sorts of networking events that they have. And on LinkedIn is a good resource as well. They have a bunch of networking events. You can see which ones is close to your area, which ones would have the type of people you would like to meet there. And then just start meeting loads of people and speaking to loads of people and exchanging numbers with loads of people. And then, those who match your vision or those who are going in the same direction as you might invite them to, hey, would you like to, I don't know, collaborate on, depending on your business idea. Then, so that's like kind of like an equal collaboration. At the same time, oh, your email, okay. Thank you for your email, Simone. No worries, you can go, I'll send you an email. At the same time, collaboration could also be, you actually do need help and you need the right people to help you get to the next place. And once you find them, just like redeeming the time because the days are evil, you make the most of those opportunities so that you can skip ahead much faster. I hope that answers your question. Collaboration with me, if you are interested in collaboration with me, Faith, I would say send me an email, or anyone can send me an email, elizabeth@wealthfromlittle.com. You have my email in your emails already, but send me an email and let me know that you would like to collaborate. We'll jump on a call and see, what we can do together. How we can work together, we'll see that. Any other questions? And any other insights before we all jump off? I just want to say thank you all for joining. Thank you. It's been an amazing session. I've even been blessed as I listened to myself speak. And in these times, I want you to be encouraged and know that there is an opportunity right now being unfolded for you in your business to be recession-proof and to be inflation-proof. There's a huge opportunity. And the only thing holding you back from that opportunity is the thoughts that you may be thinking about it in your mind, and the fear that you may be thinking about, where you're putting your focus on. To combat that is the vision. Thank you. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you guys in your emails. Make sure you whitelist my emails so my emails don't go into your spam. And you guys can always email me. I really love hearing from you consistently. I really do. If you have any questions. Okay, I'm going to end the chat now. Thank you and bye.